What do you think, hat on or off?
What do you think? Now, Ben,
I'm asking your opinion. I'm twixt between.
off.
Off?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think?
No, on, because I knew
Oh, you already turned the mic on?
always
Yeah, I
be.
already turned.
You turned it on?
Put it in your lap.
Cool.
Then if your head gets cool, put it back on your head.
Okay, what
Yeah,
about
Yeah, so you might want to
You
do
can
it
put it, well, you can leave it on, it look cuter with it
what about my glasses on or off?
on. Off.
What do you think? On or off?
Can
Put
you
the
see
hat
with
back
them
on your
on?
head. Put the hat back on your head.
Yeah, I
Look
can
better
see
with
I
it.
mean with them off. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, I can see when I'm off.
Okay.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I see better with them on.
You look a little bit more distinguished.
With them on?
Yeah.
Yeah, you look up. And put the hat on, you look more like,
How's Art doing? I tried to call him and he ain't answering.
he's going for, right now, they run tests on his heart right this week.
He's back in the
coming home.
hospital, right?
He's still in the hospital. He's coming home on the 23rd. He's supposed to come
Did he
home.
get out the first time?
No, he never came out.
He never got out. Oh, okay.
And is it okay if I sip during this interview?
For sure. Sippy sip sip.
You can do whatever you want to do. This is a podcast. This is not like radio. You can curse. You can say whatever you feel.
Okay.
However you feel.
How do I look better?
Good.
Do I look like Mason?
No.
Mason who? It's about the radio dude?
Mason and Company.
No, Mason, because he never looked good to me.
Yes.
Babe, can you turn on the speaker for me? I forgot to turn the speaker on. I need that.
It's supposed to be like max volume or what?
No.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Is it on?
You're a little good.
Oh, yes.
It just say blue.
That's so cute.
Okay, you good.
There's a cord that's plugged in, and that cord's not plugged in right down there. You see it? Bunny, show the cord down there. It ain't plugged in. You see down there? He need that plugged in.
Talk about that over there. Yeah, it's not your charger cord. That's what she's talking about.
No.
Oh, okay. I just saw it when it plugged in.
I got one cigarette on there.
Nice hookup you got here.
Oh, this time I thought it was no cigarette in there. It's actually one.
I got some nice ones.
You don't need it.
Thought I could have the boys edit all this out.
You sure?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
You gotta make sure they take it out.
You
too.
show the speaker on?
Yes.
So why did
It say blue, and it's lit up, and all that. You get that sound that's coming from the
Are we-
speaker.
Okay, no, I was just
Are
making
we
sure
recording
because the
now?
sound was still coming out my phone and not the speaker.
Oh, your phone's
Yeah,
slow.
but not right. Right.
No.
I mean, all this right here can get
Everything
cut out.
plugged in.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Turn it
yeah,
up.
the camera is recording.
That's why I have to be at max volume.
Turn it up.
It's all the way up.
Okay.
That's max. That's why I said that it had to be at max volume.
I'm gonna start that episode. They can have, they got to run all that.
Damn, so got me a cup.
She takes sense in the camera. She really does.
What are we waiting on?
The intro music too. That's all.
But you got the name of it on there. At least you said don't let them see the name of it.
worried about it, Grandma.
He ain't worried about
No,
it?
he ain't worried about it. He said he trying to get sponsorship.
Oh, okay.
Welcome back to the show. Welcome to the Detroit Tokyo Sugar Honey I.ce. I am your host, King I.ce. I am here with my co-host, dopest brother in the world, not just because he's my brother, but because he is a dope individual.
That be I, Machiavelli. How you doing? World.
I am here with a very, very, very special guest because it's Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to you too, by the way.
Happy
And,
Father's Day to you too.
Thank you.
Happy Father's Day to my father, Vincent Gibson, who couldn't be here today. But I am here with a very, very, very special individual here. He is one of the main reasons why I love to learn. I am here and blessed to introduce my grandfather, Wilbert Parker. How are you doing today, Pawpaw?
Paw.
Right, we all call him Pawpaw.
I am doing very well, thank you. Very well.
All right, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Feel free to, kick your shoes off, get comfortable, and
Okay.
talk your sugar honey iced tea, if you would. There's a lot going on in the world this week. How was your week, Mikey?
My week has been excellent. My daughter came in on Wednesday. KK is here in Detroit,
Awesome.
all the way from Georgia. Spend the summer with me like she does every year.
Shouts out to Georgia.
Yes,
I was just there last week. It was awesome.
and I had fun when I went. So,
Yeah, awesome is a great state. Happy June 19th.
yeah.
Biden passed the laws to make it a national holiday.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool and all. I mean, but
Yeah. So that way we don't have to celebrate their Independence Day.
yeah, but
'Cause
I would have rather him do what he did for the Asians.
What was
Yeah.
that?
He signed some bill and it got passed to protect Asians.
Oh yeah. And
How come they not protecting
Asian,
us?
if you attack an Asian now, it's a
It's a
federal crime.
hate
It's a hate crime.
It
Okay.
is.
Well, maybe that's on the agenda somewhere down the line, but you mentioned Juneteenth.
Yes, Juneteenth.
Interesting that all of that is coming about now because I grew up in Galveston, Texas.
Okay.
And that is where Juneteenth originated because it was in Galveston, Texas that the black slaves found out on June the 19th, 1865 that they were indeed free. Even though the Emancipation Proclamation had been passed 2 years earlier in 1863, the word did not reach the slaves in Galveston, Texas until 2 years later. And it was on June the 19th, 1865. So they celebrated that day in Texas from then on. When I was growing up in Texas, June 19th was a big deal. They closed the schools, all the stores, factories, whatever were closed. Everybody, it was a holiday. Everybody took off and went down to the beach and partied.
I'm 47 years old, and this is like all new to me. You know what I'm saying?
It happened every year on June the 19th in Galveston, Texas. It was a big holiday. Yes, it was. Now,
So how
now
about that?
miraculously, it is a national holiday now. How about that?
Yeah.
And I was witnessing it as it was taking place in the 40s and the 50s.
How about that?
History for you, artists.
Now,
Never lied, brother.
while we're talking on that scale, I'm known for being born in Louisiana because you said yourself you thought I would.
Yeah, I thought you were born in Texas because
Yeah.
you said you was raised in Texas, so I just assumed.
No, I never lost my connection to Louisiana, but I was born in Louisiana, but at the tender age of 1, my folks packed up their bags and moved to Galveston, Texas, to the shipyards for my father to find work. There was a lot of work at the shipyards in the 40s because America was at war.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he got a job on the shipyards in Galveston, Texas, and that's where I grew up until we moved to Detroit.
That was what, World War I? World War II?
Two.
In World War II? In the
Two.
40s?
Yeah.
Yeah, World War II.
I just watched a special.
Ah.
I just watched a special on the when we was at war during World War II. How everybody in the country came together to support the military and building tanks and planes and guns and stuff like that. Yeah, I just watched the documentary on it.
Yeah, I'm having some memories of Galveston, Texas growing up now. Because, well, anyway, we never lost our connection to Louisiana. Though. But if you look at it on the map, Texas and Louisiana is right next to each other,
Right.
like Michigan and Ohio. So that's where my grandparents, my father's parents lived, and all his people lived in Louisiana. So it was only like about a distance like from here to Chicago.
Right,
So
couple hour drive.
yeah, a little short drive. So we were constantly going back and forth to Louisiana.
in the old Model Ts.
Well,
No, it was in the
The
Bel Airs.
1940s.
They had the
No.
Bel Airs then.
The Model T was in the 40s?
No.
Or the old
No.
roasters?
no.
The old roaster?
No.
Model T was early
But
1900s.
yeah, the early 1915. That's what the
Yeah.
Model Ts were.
Okay.
1915.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
By the 40s, they had Packers,
They had them.
Bel
They had
Airs.
them cars like them gangsters was driving back in the
Yeah.
40s.
Oh, like the Roosevelts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Roosevelt.
Remember what the gangsters was driving?
Yeah.
Standing on the running boards.
Right.
Yeah. The Dutch Schultz joints. the Buffy Johnson boys. But oh yeah, I have a gift for you guys
Oh.
that I wanted to present to you.
Mm.
Mikey. That's not the gift, but
I'll take it.
this one is for you, Michael. I'm not gonna open all boxes. And this one is for you, Papa.
Oh, thank you.
And I also have one for Dad. Even though he's not here, I'm going to accept his award, you know what I'm saying, honor award, as if this was the BET Awards. And if
Oh,
you guys
wow.
can see that time, a glare.
Oh, wow, that's
You guys can
good.
see that timepiece. No.
You see? Wow.
This is an Invictor watch. All of them are Invictors.
Oh,
Invictor.
wow.
Thank you, bro.
Yes.
Oh,
You know the saying, Father Time is undefeated.
Look at mine there.
I couldn't. I was looking for a old school timepiece for you, Pawpaw, that you can hang on the waist when you open up.
Like,
You know what I'm saying, back in the day. But I couldn't find one.
pocket watch.
That is
Thank
Yeah, pocket watch. I
awesome.
couldn't find one.
Thank you.
This is beautiful.
Thank you, Al.
Beautiful.
I love it. I'm gonna be rocking this, boy.
And if you guys need a couple links took out, Alicia got this set upstairs, so she can do
Oh,
a couple
good.
links for you guys if you need.
Oh, that's
But,
cool. I'm gonna let this.
I present the gift of time to you guys. I spent a great amount of time with you
Thank
two,
you. Thank you. Love you.
and
Thank you, bro.
I
Love you.
love every
Love you,
moment of it.
Papa.
Father,
Like Pawpaw, fun fact for the world, Pawpaw bribed me and my brother Nick into reading.
Yes.
He called our mom up and was like, yo, have the boys write us a book report and I'll pay them $50. So in the
Remember that?
early 90s, $50 for a little kid, that's a lot of money. It's for that was motivation to make sure we get the job done. So to this day, I still read. And I strongly believe that if it wasn't for you bribing me back in the day, I would probably be like a portion of our community that don't like reading. So thank you, Pawpaw, for bribing me.
Well, that's thank you for that testimony, because I've always believed like that reading is the key to the world. Really, you can, from the comfort of your living room or bedroom or wherever, you can visit anywhere in the world.
Yes.
Now, of course, you can do that now with your smartphone in your hand, but when I was growing up,
It's
you
different.
couldn't do
It's
that.
different.
It wasn't. It
It's
wasn't.
different because the smartphone gives you actual visuals. The book makes you use your imagination. You
Yeah.
have to really put yourself
Yeah. Yeah.
in
You hit it. You hit the
Lost
key.
Island.
It makes
You
you.
have to put yourself in the boat with Moby Dick.
That's right.
Because I can tell you how a good writer can get you into a book. You hit it right on the head. We had a lot of required reading when I was in junior high school. I went to Barber Junior High School. We had a lot of required reading like American literature, English literature, stuff like that. And you had to read certain stories that were required and make a book report on it. Otherwise, you did not pass that grade.
Yeah, it was like that for me in high school too.
Okay, they told you what book they wanted you to read.
Yeah, they even gave you the book.
Yeah, so you can, anyway,
Had no excuse.
that was this one American writer that I remember from way back in junior high school, Jack London.
Exactly.
Yeah, you probably, they've made some of his, he made wrote a lot of stories about Alaska and the far north.
That name sounds.
But usually had a dog with it, you know.
No, Lord.
So, and I used to read those stories, like for instance in the summertime, very hot outside. And the writer was so good that he could make me feel like like I was, you know, I'm getting a chill while I'm reading this, and it's 90 degrees outside. You feel me?
That's how I felt about The Shining.
Yeah.
That was the one and only book that I read that actually sparked a little fear in me. Like
Wow.
I had to close the book for a second. Like that, he was crazy.
Yes. Yes.
Jack Nicholson like really did good in the movie, but
There's nothing like
how
the
I
book.
imagined that character from reading the book was a little bit more sinister.
Yeah, see, your imagination is in
Yeah, the
Right.
imagination element
You know,
is the best part.
When I was in middle school, I was, you know, I wasn't always the best student. I was always getting in trouble, bad report cards. I was always on punishment. My mama would make me read. And she made me read books like Little Women, Midnight
I
Summer's
read that.
Dream.
Read that.
You know, she made me read those books while I was on punishment. And you know,
Time so
I'm glad
many.
that she made me read them because I know about those. So when they come up, people be like, "What? How you know about that?" My mama made me read it when I was on punishment.
Man, I remember you was on punishment the
whole year.
summer.
Yeah, I was on punishment the
The
Wait a
whole
minute.
summer
School-
vacation, he could
from
not
the-
go outside.
I was on punishment from the first card marking because the first card marking was bad. And
in September.
yeah,
Yeah,
no,
he was on-
no, in October.
Yeah, the first time.
October, yeah.
Yeah, he was on punishment to the next report card.
Oh, wow.
Next card marking.
Yeah,
Next
if
card
the
marking was
grades wasn't
bad.
better, he
I'm
was
still on punishment.
Oh, so it was all about the grades then.
Yes, mom
yeah.
wasn't playing about them
No,
books.
she didn't. She
She
really
was not
didn't.
playing.
She was for real on
She was not
Oh, yeah.
playing.
Well, I can dig that.
Papa, you know what's my fondest memory
No.
with you? You took me to my first Piston game. You took me in Arthur.
Yeah.
Pistons versus the Lakers. It was on a Sunday because we were supposed to went to church.
Great rivalry.
Right.
And we was like, y'all leaving with your granddaddy.
Like-
He's like, Mikey, get your ass, you leaving with your granddaddy. You going somewhere with him. But she didn't tell us where. And I didn't know till we pulled up at the Silverdome.
that. Right.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to say that.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. That's when Pistons played the Silver Down. This is before the Palace.
I got to see Magic. I got to see Kareem. I got to see, you know what I'm saying? Kelly Chapuka was on the squad then.
Yeah.
That was, you took me to my first Piston game, and every time I watch the Pistons, I think about that. You made me a Piston fan. You made me a Piston fan.
All right, I love that.
And I'm a Piston fan until I
love
die.
that.
My fondest memory is writing book reports
Man.
with Pawpaw. And Pawpaw said he still got them. He still got the book reports.
Yeah.
That's literally 30 years old now.
All that stuff is in a box down in my basement.
Oh man, that's.
You know, I've tried
I
to.
want to read them.
I want
to read them to get some hindsight perspective of how my mind was at 8, 9 years old.
Okay. All right.
I know how I was.
It's like
I know
opening
how I
time
was
capsule.
at that time. I was just like,
Yeah, it
I
is.
just wanted to play and have fun.
Yeah.
At that age, I just wanted to play and have fun.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Just play.
I was heavy into my toys.
But
Well, it was like,
Papa called with that 50 spot. The book I'm gonna have to get today. Like I read some time stories. I read Romeo and Juliet because the fine print
I
was
agree with
it couldn't be a small book. It couldn't be a comic book. It had to be a real book. It had to be a novel. A real book.
Right.
So, like the same books that Mom made you read,
Right.
she made us read too.
Well, you know, I always had a passion for reading, and so it just came natural to me. And it goes all the way back to growing up in Galveston, Texas. And it came from my mother. She used to order all of the magazines that were the monthly and weekly magazines that were current back then. And I'm talking about, this is in the 40s. I'm talking about Better Homes and Gardens, Saturday Evening Post, Look magazine, Life magazine.
You got me reading the newspaper.
So there was a stack of magazines on my mother's in our house at all times. So when I was, I remember that back then we didn't have television.
Right.
So all we had was a radio. So with all the magazines.
The TV wasn't. TV
No,
wasn't even invented yet, was it?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
invented. We
I
just
guess you
couldn't.
didn't have one
We
yet.
couldn't afford one.
Right.
right.
Matter of fact, there was only one black family in our neighborhood that had a TV, and they owned a restaurant and a cafe and a bar, all combined.
And one.
And so they were the only one who could afford a TV.
Right.
So me and you got me thinking now, remembering stuff. So on a Sunday, my older brother Lee, he was about the same age as the son of the owner of that cafe, which got the only TV in the neighborhood. So on Sunday, they didn't sell any alcohol. So we were allowed to come into the cafe, me and Lee, and sit with this guy. His name was Bubba, believe it or not.
Oh, I can believe it. That's a common name in that time.
Bubba was Lee's friend. So we would go in there and watch TV on a Sunday. And guess what? I can remember seeing Jim Brown when he was playing with the Cleveland Browns.
Step Farm.
Because that was the only channel we could get in Galveston, Texas. Every Sunday, we watched whoever the Cleveland Browns was playing. So I saw a lot of Jim Brown when I was growing up in Galveston, Texas.
Okay. Oh, see, now that just adds just one question to the series of questions that I wanted to ask you. Like, how has fatherhood been? Like your experiences of fatherhood, because you've been a father throughout some decades and seen the times change. So you had to adjust parenting for at least 2 kids because of the way of the world. So how was that?
Well, it was challenging to say the least. And the main thing is you got to have a plan for yourself and your family.
Okay.
And along with that, a philosophy. And it all starts, with me, it all started with the parenting. You got to get a control of the economics first. Then you can use your parenting skills on raising your kids correctly. Because, okay, you just got to start with the basics. gotta have a roof, provide them as a father.
Yes, because as a man, our role is to
You
protect
got
and
to,
provide.
you got to provide a roof over their head,
Right.
food on the table,
Clothes on their back.
and clothes, and whatever.
And for their little hobbies and interests.
Right. Now, how do you do that? You got to bring the bacon in.
Yeah.
You know, some kind of way, somehow, you got to bring the bacon
Yeah,
in.
exactly.
So that's where your parenting starts at right there.
Mhm.
The basics. Then you branch out from there. Okay, like you mentioned, different times and eras that we went through. Oh, sure. Now, I bought all of those, I watched all those parenting skills that were on display in the South. Y'all never saw it, but y'all done heard about it. Yeah, you know, you can see, heard comedians get up on the stage and make jokes about I was raised in the South and all that. You got a beating and all that kind of stuff. They didn't spare a rod. All that kind of stuff.
Right.
So,
We experienced a little of that. Well, not beatings, but
So-
we
so,
experienced a little bit of that teaching.
so now, I saw all of that, and I was raised that way growing up in the South. So now, did I raise Vincent, Gwen, and Jerry like that, and Arthur? No. I picked and I chose from my experiences that I had growing up, how my parents treated me. Because I'm going to tell you how it was in the South. The father didn't have nothing to do with raising the kids. It was always the women in the family. The mama,
Right. Because we was too busy.
The aunt.
We was too busy outside bringing that bacon home.
right, however it had to do. It wasn't always in the cotton field picking cotton. Like my daddy worked in the sawmill.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They
Down
didn't bring
south.
bacon home. You was working.
And
He was out there working.
And he drove one of them trucks that hauled a log. He did all that kind of stuff in Louisiana before he moved to Texas. So anyway, so the man didn't have nothing to do. All he did was handle discipline. If,
Right.
if your little behind was so bad that mama and grandmama and Aunt Susie couldn't control you, then
Okay.
daddy took care of you.
Okay.
It was
Okay.
only the women raised the kids.
So they was the housewife.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I'm gonna cut you off, Paul, but we did
And I
experience
didn't,
that.
I didn't raise mine like that. I just
No, but us grandchildren, we did experience, I would say, the waves of that parent, the little hour waves of it, because when we came around doing family functions and stuff like that, it was always the females of the family that was making our plates. You know what I'm saying? Talking to us when we was getting out of line, but if we got too far out of line, then here come our uncles or here come our dad.
Yeah.
So we experienced a little bit of
Okay.
that style.
Well, now, remember, you were only 2 generations removed from the South, the Southern traditions. Only
Right.
2 generations removed.
Right.
So a lot of that was still going on.
Yeah, it was still going on.
But now, getting back to your original question about the different generations of raising kids and being a father. Did I raise my kids like that? No, because I wanted to be involved.
Okay.
So I was involved in raising mine. For instance, like when I come home from work, if they was watching a cartoon or something on television, I stopped and watched it too, because I wanted to see what they watching.
That's where I get that from. Because I do that.
Every time I see them watching a
I do that.
movie,
Yeah.
I stop and see
Yeah, what you
kind-
watching?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Right.
sit on down and
I want to see what they. I want to see what they like.
and I liked their cartoons all the way up until probably about maybe 10 years ago. I started seeing what was supposed to be subliminal that was like blatant out in the open now. So I was like, yeah, I don't like that cartoons no more. Y'all should watch these. But
What
Yeah.
cartoons we know?
like SpongeBob, the Mork and whoever.
Rick and Morty.
Yeah, Rick and Morty.
SpongeBob is
Right,
subliminal.
SpongeBob is.
Yeah, but it's
SpongeBob
blatant,
is
though.
known to be gay.
It's
That's
blatant.
why they have stopped.
Well,
They
I
have stopped
heard
letting our
about
kids
It's
see
blatant.
SpongeBob.
Well, they tried to say Bugs Bunny was gay too, but I mean, that goes way back to my generation.
How can they say that? But every time a female bunny came around, his eyes turned into hearts.
No, Bugs
And-
Bunny used to dress in drag.
Right, he did to fool.
Remember?
Yeah, he dressed in drag to fool Evan Fudd.
Right.
But when a girl bunny came around, he showed to prove that hey, he was heterosexual.
I remember Buzz with the,
Yeah,
with the
Daffy did
dress
it
on
too.
and the,
Yeah.
the pineapple hat and the fruit all around.
So did Daffy Duck.
Yeah, yeah.
So you know, I mean, these
They all were
these
perfect.
people, you
Yeah,
know,
that's what I meant about some. That's
they going
women.
way back and digging up all this stuff about all these cartoons. We were just enjoying them, having fun, you know,
Yeah, but
laughing at them. Really,
Now, see,
it's just
now,
good
see,
for a
I
laugh.
used to watch Bugs Bunny, Wile E. Coyote,
Yeah.
and my mama used to be like, I don't like you watching that. I'm like, why?
this is
She
violent.
say it's violent. But I didn't see the violence. Just because you fall off the cliff, that was your fault.
No, you
That
didn't see the violent nature
I
of
mean, but
Wild E. Coyote pulling out rockets.
I mean, as a kid, you know,
To
you're
shoot
not looking
at
at
him.
that. You're just looking at if it's
yeah,
funny
I
or
know.
not.
I know you're not viewing it in that aspect. But
Yeah, and all those cartoons y'all were talking about, like I said, back then, we didn't see all that, but now they're looking back and say, oh, that was violence, you know, you're teaching kids violence, you know. But we didn't see that. But maybe it could be subliminal and a thing like that.
Brutality.
oh, yeah,
Speaking-
it was tons of subliminal messages.
Brutality
in those
back
cartoons.
Speaking of subliminal,
But you gotta realize back then also, brutality, they didn't call that brutality back then, but now they do.
yeah,
Or fathers beating the kids, or
Right.
parents beating the kids, like that.
Yeah, because I was told to get a switch a couple times in my day. And they called that abuse. And hey, I ain't never been arrested. It didn't turn me to a violent nature or none of that. It made me get my act together. So, hey, 'cause I ain't want to get hit no switch.
Right.
Hey, I could count to maybe 6 or 7 times I got a whoop.
how old were you?
Nah, I got whooped a little bit more
7,
than that.
8.
I got whooped more than that.
It was the last time I got a whoop.
But it wasn't my fault.
Last time I got a whoop I was maybe 8. Yeah, 8.
See, I got suspended for fights.
And then I got it. You know what
I
I'm
got
saying?
suspended for fighting in school.
I got it.
And it
That's
was,
how-
my rule was, you got whooped because you got suspended, period. It was like, it was no real understanding. Like, hey, I'm defending myself. I'm a smaller kid. I get picked on a lot. You know what I'm saying? And there's only so many cheeks I can turn before I have to defend myself. You know what I'm saying? We in Detroit. You can't turn the other cheek all the time. You know what I'm saying? Because they will never leave you alone. Eventually, you
Right.
got to stand for you. You got to stand up for yourself.
Right.
You know
So
what Dad used to do to me?